Now up here, this is a line that we picked up about 4 years ago. This is the Royal Enfield. This is a builder's bike. This is kind of a following. People who buy this bike love this bike. This machine right here, you know, I don't know what draws people to it, and I think what draws people to it is the fact that it's just so cool. I mean, you know, it's not the highest tech bike out there. Top speed's probably only around 70 miles an hour, but it is fuel injected. It does have electric start. They kept the kickstart on here because all the nostalgia guys, they just love that feature. And it does come with disc brakes now. So it's a cool bike. We're doing some development on one right now. We're going to build a cafe bike out of one. So that's on my project list, and that'll be showing up in a video here shortly. Now on the other side of the dealership, on this side, this is the Triumph side. There's a lot of cool bikes over here. This is the new Daytona 675R. This is probably one of the most ripping super bikes in the 600 class that you can get right now. It's got the new monoblock Brembo brakes, Öhlins inverted suspension, full floater rotors, red line wheels. Then they do the red accents on the frame in the back. And it's got a great set of tires on it. The new Diablo, great bike. Fully adjustable rear suspension. They took a lot of weight off the bike by going to more of a track style exhaust system. Instead of having a huge can hanging off there, they really blended this in really well. And this is an ABS bike, which is fantastic. This is my favorite motorcycle. I've had about 5 of these. This is a new Speed Triple R. This bike, if you want to light your hair on fire, this is the bike you want to buy. Got the new 1050 motor, all the carbon fiber enhancements. I love the fact you put the Brembo brakes, the Öhlins suspension, the red line wheels. I still like the exhaust. Some people don't like the 2 under the seat. To me, this is one of my favorites. You can put the aero setup on here. You can get a 3-in-1, or you can just put the pony pipes on here. You can probably catch, honest, another 10, 12 horse with the tune. So, but it's aggressive. I had this bike on the track at Barber Motorsports. We went out there for their 8th annual Vintage Motor Days. Triumph rented the track, and we were one of the sponsors. So they let all the dealers come out and be able to pick bikes, suit up, full race gear. And I was lucky enough to get on this bike. I'll tell you, this bike's a handful. This is a very aggressive motorcycle, and I love it. This bike does things that I don't have the capability of doing with it, but that's okay. I love a motorcycle. Motorcycles, if they don't scare you a little bit, then you have the wrong one. These are our traditional twins. This is the old Steve McQueen bike. The Scrambler was built in homage to him. They actually made a Steve McQueen limited edition. This is the Scrambler pipes, high bars, wire wheels. This is the Great Escape bike. This bike you can buy and go anywhere you want on this machine. It's that cool. And the part that I like best about it is that this isn't a knockoff bike that somebody built to make it look like the bike. This is the bike. If you're gonna buy a vintage or a late model bike with all the vintage heritage, then you want a Triumph, and this is the bike. On this side here, we have more traditional bikes. This is our T100. This is probably the most finished bike we sell. Traditional wire wheels, chrome primary. It's got a great look. It has knee pads on it. This comes with the factory tack, adjustable levers. They still kept the pea shooter pipes. This goes all the way back to day one with Triumph. This is one of their signature looks and signature sounds. Now when you get into the machine here, these look like carburetors. Well, they look like carburetors, but they're not. This is fuel injection. The only thing we use in here is a throttle plate. If you took this cap off, the fuel injection actually sits underneath here. If you look behind here, you'll see a wire going up to it. This is what triggers the fuel injection. Now on the opposite side of the bike, you'll notice that there's two pieces over here. This is your TPS switch, throttle positioning sensor. And this is not a choke. All this does is bring the idle up on the bike for cold weather startup. Now when you want to know how you can tell the difference between a real carbureted bike or an EFI bike very quickly, look at the exhaust. If you have oxygen sensors on the dongs on the pipe here, then this will show you that this isn't a fuel injected machine. If these aren't here, chances are it's just a carbureted machine. This is the Triumph Speedmaster. Same 900cc motor. It's got a lower seat. It's got more of a flat track bar, but they're pulled back a little bit to you, and forward controls. This is one of our best selling bikes. This is one of the best selling cruisers out there. This is a bike that sells for $8,600 suggested retail, and you've got yourself a full-size motorcycle. This is the Bonneville America. America's a little different. America's got different headlight, different handlebars, different riding position. Still has forward controls. It's got a little bit different set of pipes on it. But this is designed where that has a gunfighter seat, and this is designed for more two-up riding. With the addition of a backrest or saddlebags and a windshield, you've got yourself a real strong cruiser. Now I wouldn't recommend this for super long rides, but you know, if you're going to do 200-300 miles a day, this is a good bike. Now this is the Thunderbird and the Thunderbird Storm. The Thunderbird has a 1600cc motor. Storm, we move up to 1700cc. High torque bikes. These bikes produce over 100 foot-pounds of torque. And what I like about this bike is it's got a very comfortable cruiser riding position. It's got a great set of wheels with an ABS on it. But this bike handles more like a sport bike. When you get this machine in the corners, you don't feel like you're on a 600-pound cruiser. You crack the throttle, you get into twisties, this bike hooks up really, really well. Now one of the things I like that they did with the instrumentation on the dash here, they did a tank mounted dash, and what they did is they give you an offset tach and speedometer. So it's all integrated into one piece right here. And then you have a backlit LED for the rest of your instrumentation. Fuel gauge, tripometer, odometer. So this is really a nice system. Not overcomplicated, not a lot of electronic gadgetry. Traditional riders, you don't need too much on a bike. In fact, I think if you put too much stuff on a bike, you kind of forget why you're riding a motorbike. This is the Tiger XC. Dual sport. This has the 800cc bike, 3-cylinder fuel injected. This is the bike that everybody's falling in love with right now. I don't know why, but now America's refound dual sports. They've been around forever, but their popularity hasn't been. Popularity on this bike right now is shooting straight through the roof. This bike is fantastic, has a great ride. It's a little tall seat height, but for what it's designed to do, that has to happen. If you want to get on something that's fuel injected, dependable, very comfortable for a long distance, and you want to get on Jeep trails and maybe do some exploring, this is the bike you want to consider. The big brother over here, this is the 1200 Explorer, the Tiger Explorer. This is the bike that replaced the old style Tiger. There's so many improvements on this bike, we could have a whole episode of just talking about that, and I think we will. So now I'm going to move over to the Trophy. I'm only going to talk briefly about the Trophy. We're going to do a segment on this later, so stay tuned for that. This is Triumph's new luxury touring motorcycle. And when I say luxury touring, this is the best effort Triumph's ever put out for an American cruiser that absolutely fits the bill for what Americans want in riding long distance. We have a competitor that's on that market in this level of bike for a long time, and I think Triumph's taken off the gloves and really going after them with this bike. And when you look at the way the bags, there is a backrest kit that's available with the trunk, GPS, electric windshield, electronics, radio, heated grips, adjustable seat, ABS. This bike is a very, very complete motorcycle, and it's an integrated bike. It's not a bike where there's a lot of stuff designed to add on later. This bike has a lot of stuff integrated into it right out of the box. And the little bit of things you want to put on here go in so seamlessly. It does. There's nothing looks like an afterthought on this machine. And that's a great part. And anything that goes on this bike from the OEM becomes a part of the warranty on the bike. So you don't have to worry about if I buy somebody else's stuff, because you don't have to buy it. You buy it from Trump and get exactly what you want. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed our stroll through Polaris West today. I really enjoyed showing you everything we do out here. Hope to be seeing you soon on one of our next clips and video releases. Later. Adios.